welcome back to Trees and Turtles. My name is Imogen, and in today's video I'm talking about how to overcome self-hatred. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that, give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and let's get started. Okay, so self-hatred is a really tricky monster because often it comes from within, okay, and it might be to do with, you know, you've been criticised or you've been bullied in the past or you've had a lot of failures and therefore you hate yourself. And I also did hate myself for a number of years, probably for the majority of my life, and I no longer hate myself. Like, of course, there are always going to be things you dislike about yourself and that you want to change, but you don't need to hate yourself, and it's actually quite unhealthy and it's quite toxic for your mental health. So I'm going to teach you how to stop hating yourself. Number one, you need to make a list of every reason you have to hate yourself. I'm asking you why, okay? Why do you hate yourself? I want you to be specific, all right? Write it down, write it down. Is it because you feel like you're inadequate at a particular goal? Do you feel like you're not performing well at work? Do you feel like you're not good at relationships? Okay, so make a list of every reason you have to hate yourself. Okay, number two, I want you to make a list of the opposite, okay? So everything that you're proud of and that you're good at and that you've done well, all right? And I want you to be just as honest in the second list as you are in the first list, because what I often find in this exercise is people will be super honest in the first list and they'll list out a load of, like, things, like a list as long as your arm, and then the second list there'll be like two things, because they're not really putting enough energy into thinking about what they have done well, what they're good at, what they like about themselves. Okay, so put as much energy into this second list as the first. And then, after you've got those two lists, I want you to make a third list, and this third list is a list of everything nice anyone has said about you. Okay, so this could be, you know, someone at a party complimented your hair, or, you know, one of your lecturers said you did a good job in your assignment, okay, or your boss has said you're really efficient, okay? So any compliment, no matter how small, I want you to write them down, all right? Just list them out, and then you've got three lists. Okay, now what we're going to do with these three lists. From the list of negative things, I want you to make a list of constructive changes. So for every reason you have to hate yourself, I want you to write down opposite it, or like next to it, a constructive change you can make. Okay, so for example, if like one reason you hate yourself is you're underperforming at work, then your constructive change would be you call a meeting with your boss and you're like, right, what steps can I take to improve? Okay, so firstly, your boss is going to like that because you're being proactive, and secondly, it's really going to take a lot of the worry out of it, because now the sort of nebulous feeling of self-hatred you have is actually converted into an action point. From there, I want you to convert those action points into SMART goals. Now, I've made a video on SMART goals, but basically they stand for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Okay, so basically they're really specific goals, and you can easily see your progress in these goals. If you haven't seen that video, I urge you to go check it out, because I explain it in a lot more detail over there. But anyway, break each of these action steps down into steps you can easily start on. Alright, so it should be easy to start making these constructive changes in your life when you've got to this stage in the process. Alright, the next thing I want you to do is create a timeline for making these changes with milestones and reminders. Now, this is part of the SMART goals framework, but also I did want to make a specific point about it, because creating a timeline for these changes is really important, because if you can see like a definitive end to some bad things that are happening in your life, then you're going to be a lot more motivated to try and work towards it, okay? And also, milestones are really important because along the way, you don't just want to start and then a long time later you're done with your goal. You want to be able to see your progress as you go along. And the reminders are important because everybody forgets to do stuff, okay? So you're going to need reminders. Right, the next thing you need to do is start working on the constructive action points and be consistent, okay? So the steps before this should really help you with this goal. Remember that this is a journey not just towards self-improvement, but also towards liking yourself more and towards getting rid of this like feeling of pervasive and nebulous self-hatred that you have. Okay, once you're doing that, I also want you to do things which make you feel positive and make you feel like yourself. So small wins like completing a minor milestone, even making your bed, and practicing self-care while you're on your self-improvement journey can really help, because when we have self-hatred for ourselves, it can often look like, I don't deserve anything good, I don't deserve anything nice, I don't deserve to be looked after or cared for, and that's really toxic, okay? So I want you to start showing yourself in small ways that you do deserve to be cared for and you do deserve nice things, and I want you to start changing the narrative even when you feel like you don't deserve it, because by changing the narrative, you are going to start to believe that you do deserve it. Also, keep reminding yourself of all your positive qualities. I made you make those 2 lists of nice things people have said about you and things you like about yourself. I made you make those for a reason, because remember that you're working on yourself and you've made a lot of progress already, and those 2 lists are full of evidence to back this up. So whenever you feel down, I want you to go back to those lists and I want you to look at them and just remind yourself that it's not just that you feel good about yourself, because you do, but also that other people see value in you, okay? So both of those things can be true, and you should remind yourself of both of those things at all times. And finally, I want you to remember that it takes time, okay? Learning to love yourself comes with progress and practice. I'm 22 now. I first went to therapy when I was 17, and so it's been like 5 years, okay? It's not gonna come all at once, but I will say that you do not have to wait that long, okay? I saw improvements within a few months, like the first few months of going to therapy, and I do highly recommend going to therapy. I made a whole video about like how I went back to therapy, so if you're interested in that, check it out. Also, please drop any questions you have in the comments, because I would love to talk more about this topic. I do think self-hatred is a really big problem in the self-improvement space, because a lot of people sort of use it as a tool to shame people into improving, and I don't think that's very healthy. Like, it can be useful, but I don't think it's very healthy long term. So those are all my tips for how to overcome self-hatred. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that. Give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Go love yourselves. Bye!